We specialize in working with companies that want to scale their monthly revenue to 1 million up to 5 million per month with Meta ads, and that with lower customer acquisition cost while scaling ad spend profitably. We work with DTC e-commerce brands, SaaS companies, and high-ticket B2C companies. We do everything from creative strategy to script writing to content creation to avatar production, so essentially preparing Meta ads that are ready to be launched from scratch. That while also handling the campaign strategy, the ads management, the funnel optimization, and the offer testing. So you can already see we handle the entire Meta ad strategy and business and product positioning to achieve the best possible results and scale them profitably. Now let's get straight to the point. In this video, I'll show you exactly how we scale brands with Meta ads while lowering their customer acquisition cost and scaling their ad spend profitably. It will be a 100% transparent walkthrough for operational and scaling strategy, and if you like, you can just take it as it is and replicate it. But first, a short introduction to why you should listen to me. My name is William Kast and I'm the founder of Ether Ads. Over the past 4 years, my team and me have generated personally over 70 million in sales from Meta ads across 36 different markets. We're known for scaling brands fast and with the latest strategies before the rest of the market even catches up. We're Meta marketing partners, Shopify partners, and shape the new strategies. But now let's get into the strategy part and the actual reason you're watching this video. So that our strategy makes sense to you, it's first important to understand the problem. For 8 out of 10 companies that reach out to us, the problem is never their product, but their marketing and communication. I talk to so many people that have objectively one of the best products in their market and they really deserve to grow. However, every time they try to scale their ad spend, the revenue doesn't follow and the CPA increases. That pushes them back, so there's no predictable growth and it's either stagnant or a roller coaster month after month. The problem that I see is that actually most agencies, consultants or employees have never scaled a brand to 7 or 8 figures and lack the expertise to get your business to that level. The thing is, we are not in 2022 anymore. You can no longer get away with generic ads or copying your competitors. You can no longer just make professional, good-looking videos or hire a lot of UGC creators to just freestyle your ads and expect growth. Competition gets more educated and harder, and advertising cost rises year by year. Now, the only way to combat this is a data-driven and psychology-based strategy that attacks all of your potential customers systematically and starts with the highest leverage points first. But the problem is most businesses I speak to can't even exactly tell why their best performing ads perform, what the psychological triggers behind that are, and how they can replicate this success in new ads. They just create something similar, essentially treating Meta ads like gambling. They throw ads into their ad account and hope for the best. And even if they manage to grow, they don't have enough structure or a framework that ensures predictable growth. This is why it's important that you get your fundamentals right before you scale. You can have the best product in the market, lots of budget, but it still doesn't matter if your marketing and your team expertise does not follow. To set up for predictable scaling, you need a strong offer, an optimized ad account, a clear creative strategy, and most importantly, a team that can execute it all and has done it before. This is exactly what our team does. Everyone on the team has years of experience in their craft and has direct experience scaling brands to 7 and 8 figures. We understand the levers we need to pull at each level to achieve predictable growth. Now let's dive into the juicy part and what you should be doing on the creative strategy side. The most important thing is the deep fundamental understanding of marketing and communication. What most brands do is define one ideal customer persona or main persona, or not even that, but just a vague demographic. The problem is that most of the time that's only 5 to 15% of the potential target group you could actually sell to. What you need to do instead is create deep ideal customer personas for each awareness level. Your customer persona exists across each awareness level, not just one. That means they could be already most aware and know your brand. They could be just product aware about what you sell, but not specifically your brand. They could be just solution aware. For example, they know they need more protein to build muscles, but aren't specifically looking at protein powders. They could be only problem aware and notice that their gym progress is slower than that of their friends, but don't know why. Or they might be unaware and not even go to the gym, or just started out and don't understand the nutritional needs to grow muscle. It's also important that you don't go just with a vague demographic, like moms that are 20 to 40 years old, but with a proper deep persona, like a mom that is 36 years old, has 2 kids, works 1 full-time job and 1 part-time job, drinks 3 cups of coffee by 1 p.m. to handle everything, but terribly crashes in the evening and feels bad about needing the rest and not being able to spend more quality time with her kids. I'm sure you can immediately see what the difference in copywriting will be if you just define your ideal customer persona in more depth. Now, if you want to scale your business, in most cases, you won't do more than $1 million per month on Meta if you don't communicate to unaware or problem-aware audiences, because that's where usually 70+% of the potential revenues that you can generate. Even if you have a mass market product, it quickly becomes a niche product if your team only goes after the lowest awareness levels that are easiest to sell to. Obviously, someone who already knows your product or even your brand will be much more likely to buy than someone who doesn't even realize they have a problem that you solve. But if you want to scale fast and go after audiences that most most of your competitors are avoiding because they are hardest to target and to convert, you need to learn or have a team who knows how to convert less aware people. Now here's another visual representation of what I mean. The most aware market is the easiest to sell to, but also the smallest, while the less aware market is the biggest but also the hardest to sell to. And of course, this distribution will be different depending on your specific product and niche, but approximately we can always say that this is true. If you're like most companies and only advertise to the product aware and the most aware market, you literally miss 90% of the market. And even if your team already started targeting solution aware markets, you're still missing out on approximately 70% of the market. Targeting the problem aware and unaware market as well is essential to build ads that can spend majority of your ad spend and move the needle forward. Now you might be thinking, does this also apply if I sell lifestyle products, clothes or jewelry? And the answer is yes, of course. This model just needs to be applied correctly to your market. But most people unfortunately don't know how to do that. So as you can already see, building an awareness funnel and targeting the entire market is essential to scale. That's why we never just say, oh, our customer persona is product aware or solution aware. We create a version of it for each awareness level and target all of them. Now the second part of the puzzle is understanding stages of market sophistication. The core principle is that the more your audience was already exposed to a specific claim, the more indifferent they will be towards that claim and ignore it. As an example, just imagine you sell a weight loss wonder drug and you show insane before-after images where people lost so much weight in just 3 to 4 weeks. Of course, nobody will believe you and your ads will be ignored. Now, the problem is that most advertisers fall into exactly this trap. They run outdated messaging that their market already got used to. And even if that messaging used to work in the past, it might not work anymore because the market developed. This is a common issue for brands that started well, but their team failed to constantly do market research and understand where their market is at, until they kept their outdated messaging and then started to stagnate. The harsh reality is that the messaging that was working 3 to 6 months ago might be already outdated today. And the more sophisticated the market becomes, the stronger, clearer, and more unique and different your message has to be. Otherwise, you will be labeled as everyone else. And people won't even believe that your product works if they had bad experiences with other products similar to yours. If you run stage 5 messaging in the stage 1 market, you'll just confuse people. So if your messaging doesn't match the sophistication stage of your market, you will not resonate much, no matter how good your product is. For example, let's say, just remember when you saw the first ad for a Kindle. It was talking about the non-glowing screen, the technical features, and the revolutionary technology. If you do it now, most people would ignore it because most people know it already. With a Kindle, people already went through the entire cycle, and now their ads messaging is more about a lifestyle and a certain identity they target. That's the exact same cycle that companies like Apple and others have gone through. Most supplement, jewelry, and fashion brands tend to struggle because their market is in stage 5, and they need a professional team from the beginning to know how to handle it and win in such tough markets. Now, after understanding those crucial fundamentals, let's take a look at ideation. Most marketing teams just check out the market, see what the competition is doing and tries to copy that while making it just slightly better. The problem with that approach is that you directly advertise for your competitor. Your audience has already seen their ads and you present yourself just like a cheap knockoff. When my team starts working with a brand, we spend the first few days just on research. We look at the competitors to understand what is currently winning in the market, to understand current winning angles, messaging, and also the customer personas that they target. We do this not to copy them, but to understand what they are not doing. We analyze their gaps in their positioning and the marketing, some potential audiences that they don't target, or some awareness levels that they don't target. Because those audiences will be the least competitive ones and the ones that we will scale in. We find exactly how we can differentiate and make stronger claims than our competition, how we can communicate something that our competition is not leveraging, and how we can establish the company as a thought leader in the industry. At the same time, we also analyze your audience in detail. We look at thousands of reviews, online forums like Reddit, social media, Instagram, TikTok, and understand exactly what people care about, what people talk about, and what kind of language they use. We check what comments have the most likes to understand what people care most about. We learn how we can tap into their desires, their pain points, and resolve objections. We understand their day-to-day struggles and especially how they feel with the problem so that we can psychologically target them. The more we know about them, the better. That's how we craft a message that can deeply resonate with them and will leave them with a deep desire to act on our messaging. After understanding the proven ads and angles and market ones, we craft ads that target their core desire, their identity, and their aspired identity. We craft unique personas that your competition is missing, leverage your unique selling propositions, and package them into proven angles and formats as well, to combine proven success in the market and your unique positioning with your market ones, so that the end result is ads that make your brand irresistible. Now, another important thing to understand is the volume trap. Especially now with AI tools, it's very easy to pump out a lot of ads. But just because you're testing 30 to 50 ads per week, it does not mean that you're on the the right track. In fact, if you're testing 30 to 50 ads per week, but you're still not growing really fast, it's really time to revise your strategy before you waste more time and resources. Volume is important, but it only makes sense when you can scale while keeping your quality. If this is resonating with you, your strategy needs to shift from half-arbitrary tests to consumer psychology-driven and structured testing. That is essential to increase your hit rate and actually see tangible growth from all the ads you launch. And this is really a fundamental and a must to scale to 8 figures and beyond. The model and framework I've shown you can be specified based on the industry, but the same principles always apply. No matter if you sell a product that solves a problem or if you have a lifestyle brand. If your marketing team only talks about ROAS, CPA and winning ads, but not about the higher creative strategy, your funnel, or your offer, then the problem is most likely not your product, but the people handling your communication and marketing. Just to show you, this is how a systematic approach looks like. Most products satisfy multiple desires. Those desires create the persona and have many sub-personas that would resonate with the messaging. Each persona and each sub-persona have many different angles that they would resonate with. And every single winning ad angle can be packaged into many different ad formats. If you want predictable iterative growth, it's essential to start top to bottom and work out the highest leverage desires you can target, the highest leverage personas you could target, the highest leverage angles you could target, then package it into all ad formats that are resonating with your persona and are out there on social media. And once you've mastered such a path in this tree, you move on to the next to scale further. Talking about ad formats, this is really the lowest hanging fruit to scale that most meta advertisers ignore. If you have a winning ad, you should always go all in on all awareness of that messaging in all possible ad formats. If you do that, ad fatigue will be never a concern for you again. Let's say you have a traditional UGC video that performs. What my team and me would do here is analyzing the core elements that actually make it a winning ad. Not just the angle, but the psychological triggers as well. You understand what desire and what persona this ad is targeting and why it is resonating so much. And once you have done that, you can take those core winning elements and repackage them in all possible ad formats. Here are just a few you can go for. Authority ads, educational ads with animations, meme ads, product tutorial ads, organic review ads, UGC ads, founder style ads, storytelling ads, podcast ads, problem solution ads, listicle ads, lifestyle ads, voiceless text overlay ads, and so on. The list is constantly changing because social media is ever evolving. If you do this, one winning ad won't ever be just one winning ad again. Instead, once you crack a good winner, it will scale your brand and feed you for very long with all of its variations. Now, most companies we talk to would know the metrics in the ads manager, but when it comes to content metrics and the exact creative strategy they are following right now, they usually can't reply without looking it up or talking with the team. We are at a point where more than 80% of your performance comes from your creative strategy and your content. That's why it's more important than ever you work on data-driven structured approach, ad creatives and communication. Focus on the 80% that moves the needle, not quick fixes in the ads manager that won't work anyway. When it comes to strategic and data-driven ad creative, there's not a single script framework or template that is plug and play. Your script structure should be tailored for the awareness level you communicate to and based on whether the speaker is a consumer, expert, or founder, and so on. Here's just one example of how a product-aware framework could look like. Because your product-aware personas are already aware of your product, there's no point in explaining it or agitating their problem. Instead, you want to lead with a hook that targets the frustration that people have with other products or objections they have with alternative products. The ad should have a logical flow that amplifies their emotions and positions your product as the go-to superior choice. As you can imagine, there are infinite such frameworks depending on the awareness level you target and the ad format you package it into. If you want to self-audit your account, this is the KPI you want to look for. The hook of your ad should filter for only relevant audiences. Even while filtering the wrong people out, your hook rate should be still 30+%. This is because the targeting is no longer happening in the ad settings, but on a creative level. So if you don't filter in your hook, your ad can't optimize. The hold rate, which is how many people that get to see your ad actually watch to the end, should be at least 10%. The click-through rate depends on the industry, but we've seen and created winners with a common click-through rate range of 1.5 up to 6%. What's also extremely important to ensure that you're actually scaling is that your frequency is not too high. If you see a frequency of 2, 3 or higher throughout the last 7 days, it means that your ads are reaching out to the same people over and over again rather than reaching new people and growing your funnel. Now, since your ad creative determines majority of your performance and what audiences you target, our campaign structure is built around the creative as well. Many brands would fancily label their campaigns top of funnel, middle of funnel and bottom of funnel and randomly throw creative into those. Whereas in reality, not the labeling or your ad settings decide whether the creative goes to top of funnel, middle of funnel or bottom of funnel audience, but the creative itself. And if your team or agency relies mainly on lookalike audiences or interest audiences to drive performance, that is the worst, and I can tell you their strategy is many years old and outdated. Most times we don't even use retargeting settings anymore because Meta does it itself. Now the campaign structure you can see here is just a skeleton that is modified based on the industry, market, and niche, because every brand is different and custom. However, most accounts that are spending over 100k per month with us are structured like this. We have a main campaign where we have ads that are targeting the top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. And as you already know, it's not happening in the ad settings, but in the ad creative. We have 5 to 10 ad sets running where we have 3 to 5 variations of each ad idea or ad concept, and we use them to split test hypotheses with every single test. As I already mentioned before, we hit all awareness levels, and we do this within this main campaign. This reduces campaign overlap and structures your ad account for efficiency. Then we would have a separate promo campaign to control ad spend that goes towards evergreen ads versus promo ads. There we are running the same promo ads within 3 different ad sets. Most of the time the broad ad set is the best one because, as I already said, targeting happens on the creative, not in the ad settings. However, warm retargeting and hot retargeting is getting us additional performance as well. And then occasionally, if it aligns with frequency, we would also run manual retargeting. That can improve your performance if ad frequency is low and we see the opportunity to empty the funnel more. Now, if you're running a strategy that is somewhere along those lines I mentioned, you might be thinking that you're good. However, what most meta advertisers don't understand is that even if their creative strategy, their ad creative system, and their campaign structure is dialed in, it's often still not enough to scale to 8 figures with meta ads. Because while these systems give you quality traffic, it's just as important to understand your competitor landscape, their offers, their positioning, and how you need to position yourself on the back end to differentiate. Having the right positioning on your landing page and your product page and the right offer can literally multiply the efforts of your paid media strategy. So this is why whenever we work with a brand, we go through their entire funnel to maximize conversion rate, AOV, revenue per session, and customer LTV. Because in the end, you're already paying for the ad traffic. You should also get the most out of it. Now, to sum this all up, I want you to understand that the best advertisers combine creative expertise with deep understanding of performance marketing, communication, algorithms, and their customer psychology. They master both fundamental marketing principles and the ability to create ads that engage and convert, while maintaining an overview of the entire marketing ecosystem to ensure maximum impact from their meta ads. Now, let me show you what kind of results this meta ad system is able to produce. Here's one example, Perfect White. They came to us with a customer acquisition cost rising above $200, which dragged down their MER and didn't allow them to spend more and scale on Meta. 2 months into our growth program, we were able to reduce their customer acquisition cost by 30%, scale ad spend more than 200%, and add almost $300,000 in monthly recurring revenue to their Meta ads funnel. Here's another example. This brand runs on customer LTV, but when they came to us, they suffered again from high CPA that didn't allow them to scale. After 9 months of working together, we were able to reduce the customer acquisition cost by over 50%, almost triple their meta ad spend, and even almost double their ROAS while doing so. Here's another example. This brand just had proof of concept on Meta, but didn't have a framework to scale predictably. After 10 months of our system, we were able to 17x their ad spend, increase their ROAS by 28%, and scale them into 6-figure months on Meta. And here's one more. This brand was not selling on Meta yet, but already had a proven and successful business. Within 2 months of applying our system, we started generating them an additional 6 figures from new customers purely with Meta ads. So now what can you expect from us? On average, these are the results that companies see in the first 60 to 90 days of working with us. 36% of reduction in CPA, 32% increase in ROAS, 37% of increase in ad spend. And in addition to that, you get a team that cares, only senior talent, and fast communication. If this resonates with you, apply to work with us. Our goal is not to become the biggest agency, but the best in growing brands with meta ads. We are a lean team and fully dedicate our time on the latest and best meta ad strategies. We have no trainees, juniors, or salespeople. Only senior specialists. Our churn rate is almost none and most companies stay many years with us. Together we have generated over 70 million in sales across 36 different industries and markets at the time of recording. The whole team refines the craft daily and works on improving and developing new strategies. Each month we take on a maximum of 3 businesses and never work with more than 15 at a time. Because we're not in the business of working with as many brands as possible, but to scale a handful of high potential brands as much as possible. If this is resonating with you, schedule a call as soon as possible so you can avoid a potential waiting list. I'm looking forward to talking to you.